Let's take a look at how basic high-low mix-up typically looks in the corner. It's going to be something like this, where you will lock them down with an assist somehow, maybe with like a 6M plus an assist, into an instant air dash. Or maybe you'll use a special move like that, and then an assist and lock them down into air dash into high, or maybe air dash into low, something like that. Really simple, really basic, that's the mix-up. In order to defend against this well, typically what you're going to do is choose when you switch from blocking high to blocking low. So we have two recordings here, one that's high and another one that's low. And because the high and the low can't happen at the same exact time, he has to land before he can go low, and he can only do the high while he's still in the air. You can choose when you switch from blocking high to low and consistently block both. That's really good. That's really important. That's a big part of every fighting game. But what if I told you there's a way to beat both of these options at the same time without having to do this? In fact, even getting a good reward for it. And that's going to look like this. So why did that work? And just to show this isn't like a Bardock thing, this will work with anyone as a reaction. Even a tall character like Cell can do this too. So what's going on here? Why is this working? Why are we able to walk out here? Is it a guess? Is it a reaction? Will it always work? When doesn't it work? That's what we're going to talk about today. So anytime there's a reasonably sized small gap when someone goes for instant air dash mix-up, you can react to the instant air dash by walking forward. This isn't always going to work if someone has an assist that locks you down 100%. So medium to low blocks on assists like Bardock, sometimes even beam assists like Goku, this is going to work for. But if you try to do this to Kid Buu, Gotenks, Base Goku, Ginyu, Jiren, those kind of assists are going to have too much block stun. It's not going to be an option anymore. And again, this is a reaction. If I just hold forward this whole time, I don't think this is going to work because I'm too tall to go under him. I need to be crouching as the air dash is starting and then react by holding forward. And there we go, now we're out. Just remember to hit a button before they do. Although if you're too soon, you'll get an airborne hit, so just keep that in mind. So the funny thing about this is that it actually usually won't work unless you do it as a reaction, which is perfect because for it to be as least risky as possible, you want it to be in a situation where you know it's going to work. So to me, that's perfect. This is honestly the same idea as trying to block left-right mix-up mid-screen. So if you can hold forward as a reaction to block a cross-up mid-screen, then you can realistically do this in the corner as well. The really important thing here is understanding when you can do this. You probably need to learn this skill in a lot of matchups anyway, even if it's not for this purpose, because some characters like Kid Buu can vacuum you out of the corner and then go for a cross-up. So you're going to have to be ready to block cross-up in that situation, even with your back to the corner. And the main way you're going to learn about these things is just matchup experience. So you'll have to make the choice of, when I see him jump, do I block by holding forward and block the cross-up, knowing I got sucked out of the corner? Or maybe you gamble with a 2H to beat both options that way. And this is with more characters too, like I know Ginyu has this as an option as well. In this year's big patch, he ended up getting changes to some of the Ginyu force, so now he has an option with Birder that can suck you out of the corner. And yeah, Ginyu can do it too. This is just matchup knowledge. If you don't know about it, you're going to get hit. Once you learn about it, you'll probably start adapting and remember that you have to hold forward as your reaction to an air dash instead. But yeah, walking out of the corner is honestly a really cool option to get out. It's really rewarding because if you're blocking high-low mix-up normally, like again, let's go to those Cell recordings we had earlier. We have them set both to play at random, and we can practice blocking high-low this way. This is actually pretty good. We've got the high, we got the low. But this is very low reward. It's very low risk, so learning to do this is very important. But wouldn't it be nice if once in a while we just knew we could walk out of the corner and just get a combo that way? So really cool option, rewarding option. When you have the presence of mind to know that you can go for it and you can react by holding forward instead of back, it's awesome, really cool. But it's not perfect. So this is the part of the video where we're going to talk about all the problems with it, or at least some of the obvious ones. If you're looking for instant air dash, and you're super ready to hit forward the moment you see it. The big issue is everything else that the opponent does is going to be harder to react to because your focus is split. You're focusing on that one thing. Now, if they just go for a Dragon Rush, it's much more likely to hit you. So let's actually throw in a few other options here into our recordings. We'll record one with Dragon Rush, and let's do another one with 6M. That seems good. And now let's play back on random. We can still get the high-low. Oh wait, actually, I gotta remember, we're gonna react with forward when we see him go airborne. And we're good. Okay, I barely got that. And I got hit by 6M. And that brings us to another point, is any overhead that doesn't cross over us is gonna be like a free hit for them at this point. Because if we're reacting to overheads by holding forward, we're just gonna be walking into an overhead that's still on that side. So 6M honestly blows this kind of thing up. One particularly galaxy brain type option you could go for if you want to catch someone who's trying to walk out of the corner is same side super dash. So they're going to react to you jumping by holding forward. Same side super dash obviously keeps you on the same side. This is more or less rewarding depending on what kind of character you have, what kind of confirm they get from super dash. A character like GT Goku or Janemba or even Super Broly probably gets a lot. You're gonna have to figure out what kind of combo you get from same side super dash, because you don't want to do a galaxy brain option like this and then not convert it well. I think in Ginyu's case, I think he gets a combo from his medium tackle if he gets the hit. So let's go back to that mix-up we were doing earlier. I'm sure we could do something more optimal than that, but the general idea is you want to find some way to make it feel rewarding if you're going to do something like that. But I don't really recommend doing the same side super dash too often because it's really not that good of an option. The reward is generally lower than the other options. And most people don't do this in the first place. Most people don't walk out of the corner. This is something you do when you realize someone's doing it. In general, it's not the best option. Most people are going to be like, why are you super dashing at me? You just gave up your mix-up. You know, that's how most people are going to think about it. But there's still got to be a reason why we don't see people doing this all the time. The first is that it's not very intuitive, and I think a lot of people just aren't aware that it's an option. The second is that when assists are involved, it's actually a really risky, inconsistent option. Because this only really works if there's a gap. If there's a reasonably small, decently sized gap, you can do this. But if there's either a really small gap or no gap at all, then this isn't going to work. And most people try to time their assists in a way where there isn't going to be a gap. So again, if it's gapless and I try to hold forward, I'll still be able to block, because as long as you're in a true block string, it doesn't matter whether you're holding forward or back. The only thing that matters is whether you're standing or crouching. But you're still going to end up blocking at this point. You might end up thinking that you're out of the corner when you're not out of the corner anymore, and then whatever they do afterwards might just win as a scramble in your mind. Or if the gap is too small, there's a solid chance that you won't be able to get out. And this is going to be something that is mostly not only up to what assist they're using, but also how they're timing it, when they're timing it, and not every player times their assist exactly the same every time. We're all human, right? So it's hard to predict, especially when the other person isn't consistent with what they're even trying to do. And last, it's also spacing dependent. So if they're not all the way in the corner, if they're not basically pressed up against you when they do their air dash, you're not going to be able to walk out. I reacted with forward there and I got hit standing because he's too far away. I would have to probably actually run out of the corner as a guess. Oh, I still can't do it. So it's also a spacing issue. So between all the little inconsistencies, having to deal with assists, and then all the issues of getting hit by 6M, getting hit by things you weren't looking for, like Dragon Rush, this is generally considered probably a pretty risky option. Even though it's a reaction to a situation that you're aware of, it's still a pretty risky option, and it's unintuitive, it's scary to even try doing. It's understandable that not many people do it. But there is one time when it is actually perfectly reasonable to do, and that's basically when the opponent is by themselves. If they don't have an assist, it's just their anchor. Then there's no assist to lock you down. There's no assist to mess up your timing. If someone does just a basic mix-up, let's record just air dash into air dash, right? Like really common mix-up. their plus, so they go for another air dash. You can react by walking out of the corner. And again, even tall characters can do this. Might take some practice. I don't think this is honestly like a super huge deal, but it's really nice to have as an option in your back pocket. And it's nice to just even know what's going on. I still watch commentators at the highest level talk about how people are dashing out of the corner to do this, because occasionally it does happen at a high level right now. And it's not that they're dashing out, they're just tapping forward. Let's put on a virtual controller and we can just see we're just reacting by holding forward. We're not double tapping it or anything like that. That'd be visible. We're just tapping forward. Sometimes you might roll your stick on accident and get a special move, but even when you do that, you're probably still good. And assists like Base Goku are going to be extra scary because they have tons of blocks done. Base Goku, Kid Buu, Gotenks, again, Ginyu, any of the characters that have a lot of blocks done, there's no way you're going to be able to walk out of the corner when they go for their mix-up. So both their high option and their low option, their Dragon Rush, 6M, all of that is all going to beat it. So this option is just effectively taken off the table against some teams altogether unless they waste both of their assists and still go for something like this without an assist to back them up. This mostly only comes into play when it's just an anchor by themselves. And that's probably actually the biggest reason why we don't see it too much at a high level. But anyway, this is just a neat topic I wanted to cover as a quick little video. I didn't feel that it really fit into any of the larger topics that I wanted to cover later on. So I just decided to give it its own quick, sweet video, straight to the point. If you felt that this video was useful and you want to keep learning DBFZ with me, then feel free to subscribe to the channel or watch me on Twitch when I stream over there. I'm there probably a couple times a week. Feel free to ask me questions over there. I'm gonna have to make some more of these quicker, concise videos like this just because I can't actually always do a large constructed scripted video now that I'm back in school. I hope you guys understand. But you know, school does have to come first. I think this is a good middle ground where sometimes I can just put out something like this that I can cover a little quicker and be a little less editing time on my part. Thanks for understanding, guys. But anyway, that's everything I wanted to cover. Hope you guys liked it. Hope you guys learned something new or at least found it interesting. See you guys next time.